Hello, my name is Anthony Wall. There are Ukrainian families recorded, confessed, and demonstrated that were employed to extortion of American citizens, and with people involved with a whole bunch of juxtaposed natures of child abuse, even sexual, even medical, even judicial, inter-branch Connecticut, on and off the of Connecticut judicial branch offices. Directly and indirectly, dozens of people are connected to criminal uses of the locations on and off the Weathersfield state judicial branch offices, all along that route and connections tied to it, all along other routes and connection tied to it. These are people with predicate acts that they hid against Paul Manafort and people that worked for him. They've just been attaching everyone to fake recorded words, fake things. They've been using databases originally and still for their roles above the law and pretending to be against that. Now, these are roles originally and still incapable of telling about what slavery is about, using honesty and scientific process, at the same time defending themselves. So they have further and further self-valued words, phrases like scientific process and scientific consensus, criminally foreign influenced. And with regards to their recorded physical delusions and their wire crime methods and mail crime methods, New Britain Superior Court, dozens of people in New Britain Superior Court, Hartford courts, involved with predicate acts with people on and off the state of Connecticut judicial branch offices, live progressions where they act live progressions in relationship to that. This is also a vertical and horizontal database breaching method that knows that it keeps those databases, predicate acts needed hid, self-valued hid horizontally on off locations of campuses, already originally and still from off those locations, originally and still have been affected to roles with this other methods of organized crime that keeps them criminally foreign influence standing identities of positions in relationship to databases, in relationship to other types of experts and of their own expertise. So we have Central Connecticut State University also involved intercities with child campuses they are connected to interdepartment, like educational department, involved with maintaining criminally foreign influence stewards of each of the sciences, abridged, so they can keep the Constitution's surface values abridged and pretend other by pretending they're caring about amendments, leaving out the actual word like free speech, like the right to guns, like the right to due process. We have courts already invested, actually crime predators, which worse than witch trials against American citizens, let alone against presidents. That individual position is recorded worse than extorted by the phenomenon related to this method that has all positions of all locations, areas, and states criminally foreign influence, self-valued originally and still. It is very simple to discern the physical delusions and the criminally foreign influence premises treatments and sequence treatments from every single person who has only been allowed to speak about what's caused slavery. What caused slavery was this actually recorded database racketeering method. Dozens of people are still online with Facebook tied to a Mike Pete. I don't know who that is. Tied to a Officer Jerry Miller. I don't know who that is. He's also recorded, confessed, and demonstrated with a Kerr family. Dozens of people I don't know the names of at New Britain Superior Court involved with them with predicate acts and with people tied to him on my street. Also a Mike Roberts. Mike Roberts. I barely know him. Like a handful of times I know him. And each time was them involved with the people that are recorded, involved also with their extended family members with predicate acts, with child sex offenders, with roles with untimely deaths that brought up the principal sex offenders campus, with others recorded and confessed with New Britain Superior Court, and with Weathersfield Police, with the police chief's daughter also involved with the campus. Also, a principal when I was at that school is involved with the principal sex offenders campus with his daughter as a victim predator, speaking to other people that have the sense and sensibilities of her with her husband involved with sexual abuse, with her husband's her husband is reportedly her husband is one of the guys associated with the Gallucci family, which is one of the people involved with recorded, confessed, and demonstrated predicate acts on and off Trinity College, involved through time. And since I've been asking since before the Trade Center attack to report predicate acts and roles with it with foreign and domestic and inter-branch families, judges, their police forms, military, foreign and domestic, people on and off Hartford courts, also recorded, confessed, and demonstrated with the name Hunter. Different person, but than Mr. Biden's son. But the Biden administration was also roles right through since before that, right through the Obama administration, they've been lying about what is recorded over phones, lying about what is recorded over email at interbranch with child sex offenders since proven and further recorded, confessed, demonstrated then and now. Now these are people who have to pretend passion modes. Oh, I'm against anyone being bigger than the law. They're for that. Now they also attach me and other people to fake words and look at fake yelling because they're sick. They're still online with a Mike Pete and with people with Weathersfield Police Department with their Facebook pages, blocking my posts and influencing strangers to pretend lies about me, having people call up a fake police reports so they can send more officers with the crime method they are recorded, confessed, and demonstrated using, forging names and switching names. Then they pretend. Then they have to pretend they do legitimate reactions to when people give them information. They're involved also with the witness protection programs ties to my areas and my area and with the houses involved with them, with crimes with fire departments, predicate acts roles, wrongdoing roles with fire departments, sequence shifts roles with fire, falsified police department roles, drug crime roles, formal and informal, untimely deaths on and off Trinity College. A whole bunch of people tied to a Joshua Stryker. I never had anything to do with it. It wasn't even my grade. I'm recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved with predicate acts roles with them with houses on my street, including the one tied to the witness protection program. Now, these are also people with their extended family members, predicate acts with forensic locations that are also involved with predicate acts with the transition from ACA to RICO, Organized Crime Control Act, into the Racketeering Influence and Corrupt Organization Act. These are also people involved with predicate acts on and off the Department of Homeland Security and buildings next to them. Note like WFS, like Fox Connecticut News. Also, intercities involved with predicate acts with WFSB and with WTNH, Fox Connecticut News. Dozens of police associated with them and their family members, and with federal criminals that are co-defendants of former director of the FBI involved criminally, like Thaddeus Skarbowski, recorded, confessed, and demonstrated by police and by themselves, and confirmed roles with two Mulcahy sisters and their family. I also don't know them, and other houses on and off Two Rod Highway, where where it runs into Hangdog Lane, as the Mulcahys are recorded, confessed, demonstrated involved with that, and with people at the end of the Berlin Turnpike. That also runs into the Berlin Turnpike Two Rod Highway. Now these are all. There's also a pattern of people that since I was a kid have been confessing, recorded, also demonstrated true. Um, a Dillon family, a detective Dillon, also with a son Sean Dillon, and with Anna Dillon involved with them. Also inter religious spots, but also inter important point. So they do awesome, but you have to just give me a response. Get the judges and the prosecutors use crime methods of forging names, switching names. They have people going to courts. They use the crime method of pretending they don't want people to control communications, so they could get off pretending to perceive things with physical delusions, pretending logic that is that you like convictions in relationship to logic's actual nature, actual identity of value progression, truths that are true always. They're making them other. They're out of their minds. Now, so you have to be able to counter the sequence shifts that reveal that and how Congress was used remote and is being used remotely right now by a whole what is fluent through our nations. Ambassador Sondland recorded self-valued roles with non-integrity with both administrations' ambassadors, roles with Central Connecticut State University, with a whole bunch of other nations, with predicate acts with them. Now, so respond for them also because they're using predicate acts delivery systems methods where they forge names and switch names. And they keep attaching everyone to, they attach kids and their families and everyone to fake locations on and off campuses, fake locations with people on their campuses because they have to keep that hid later by the people they kept employed, criminally foreign influenced. That's all that's allowed to speak for states, local locations, areas. Now we have mayors. All those politicians from New York City are sick. You can't discern how since founding they've been blaming the real cause of negative value nature progressions, acts, and natures on other things other than themselves, locking kids up. Sickly. You can't discern how they have the experts of psychology, of logic, criminally foreign influence, delusions, raw predators. You can't see that sick fake theater that is worse as criminal and serious nature when they make opinions on television. New York! Get them onto paper now. These are people from Connecticut, interstates, intercities, interstate also. Worse than that, as the ones further involved with New York Justice Department predicate acts, wrongdoing, sequence shifts, uses of inside, outside of courts, proven right in the Ninth Circuit, right before the World Trade Center attack, insidiously and and simultaneously, overtly from inside the Ninth Circuit. From they had post-dated documents to appear as if they'd been handed in late to the Ninth Circuit Court. Right, they handed that to the panel of judges right before the World Trade Center attack. When this is the Ninth Circuit Court right next to it in Manhattan. So then that got shut down. Obviously, by the Trade Center attack, then got taken out right after that. That was proven. That led up to a 2006 case with former director of the FBI, Robert Luskin, as a co-defendant personally. And he was warned by judges in the past not to have the lawyer that he had as his lawyer in that case, that part of the case /S, which is a Robert Chevery, which he has an office down the street from Harriet Beecher Stowe House and the Mark Twain House, which is also relevant numbers of ways, historically and present. Further uses of the phrase Jim Crow, for example. Further uses of the phrase Uncle Tom, for example, with Harriet Beecher Stowe, and the uses of Mark Twain with the North and South narratives, and in relationship to how George Washington had to leave overt slavery with color here in Connecticut, right between New York City and Boston, in the North, before entrenched. Even with the French general's help, they could only semi-counter extort that already the way it was entrenched. Think anyone was capable of having free speech when they had those crazy laws? You think someone's free because the person next to you is deemed a slave by sick courts? Everyone's a slave. Now, see, we need some real passions and emotions, not valuing criminally foreign influence premises, treatments, and sequence shifts. And the positive treatments of science is abridged to get away with it. Because then we have precedents, criminally foreign influence, delusions, raw. It's that simple. Now respond for your Congress, pretending not to realize they're actually recorded wire crimes, mail crimes, predicate acts, inter-brnach, uses of their databases, predicate acts. Oh, boys! Also, their lies about behavior, uses of words /values like behavior criminally, Words like motion and passion and delusions raw. You watch. Have them make they can't respond on time. They can't respond without valuing database racketeering against whoever tries to use logic without criminal foreign influences. And honest. And science too. All lies! So respond for them. Congress! Many times I asked you, respond for the rest of the people with the phone crimes and the wire crimes and mail crimes with the proven child sex offenders and their families, further involved with more racketeering out off the schools that I was involved with. Further, how with the police, there's a Phil Cololo, further involved with a whole bunch of school resources officers also involved with predicate acts with databases, crimes with untimely deaths, falsified police reports, rolls inter-brnach rail sick. You forget their jobs. I'll retrain them now for you for free. Boxings. Get me a response. Stop lying about our behavior. They have Facebook and YouTube recorded used remotely by their roles and uses of timed ad company roles with former director of the FBI's federal criminal co-defendants and their fucking sexual circles and drug cliques and roles with untimely deaths and predicate acts with child sex offenders, wrongdoers with child sex offenders on and off campuses, medical racketeering families on and off campuses, fake words to me, fake ties to me. Respond for them inter-brnach sick fakes. I don't care. They're a prosecutor, male, female, with their kids involved with the schools. Get down! I went to the courts. They would not allow me to speak. They would not. They attached me and my family, other people of fake locations, fake words, fake things. I didn't do anything wrong. All I did was call back people who made confessions about their roles with child sex offenders' crimes before they got caught for that. They were forced as people involved with their family members since they were kids with predicate acts, with people from Sandy Hook, Newtown, tied to these campuses in my town, on and off the state judicial branch offices, on and off the state prison offices. Ingo! Get a response from me right now. Don't speak for New York City. Lord, they need reliefs and they'll have them now. You follow free speech now. Fake branches bow and fall. CNN is also recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved with remote uses of Congress through criminal foreign influences. Do what's right and fix the fake news associated with you, CNN. And with your predicate acts recorded, confessed, demonstrated, confirmed roles on off Paul Manafort Drive, on off CCSU, with judges and with prosecutors and with FBI and with CIA and with their family members further involved with the untimely deaths, falsified police reports, identity theft frauds, racketeering, pattern of people pretending they were in classes with me that never were, with people that were in classes with me I never had a word with, involved with the crime methods of Wethersfield Police, of intercity police, forging names, switching names. Then they have to hide that in relationship to the roles with locations, all positions, of all locations, areas, and states. Get them from the fake passions and emotions, and that too, its course. All drop the force. They have ad companies that have timed ad companies with timed ad placements with family members involved with racketeering acts with agencies and with overt criminal enterprises juxtaposed, all tied to my street, all with the witness protection program, also recorded and confessed and demonstrated involved with them, numbers of families involved with Maine and with Vermont, with the same house/S further involved. Also, the psychologists of those FBI. Oh, now they have criminal readings of statutes. regarding the integrity of people in relationship to what kind of job they have. Sequence shifts reveal their physical delusions and readings of statutes criminally. You respond for the motherfuckers who, excuse my language, respond for them. They have recorded, confessed, and demonstrated, sought me out to repeat that he's Ukrainian, one of the victims at UPS, involved with their roles with all these people tied to the former director of the FBI, Robert Luskin, and to the judges with their family members, even white, black, female judges, crimes with child sex offenders, and with people on off 2 highway associated with them, and with this Spider family, with this Delafair family, and with a Schedule family, and other boyfriends they had at the same time, like a white family, I believe is the name. On off people, a whole bunch of people on off Fox Connecticut News. 2 Mendez police brothers. Fake conversation, fake locations of me since I was a kid. I ran a class with them. Never saw them inside my high school in my life. Only saw them one time out of high school. Only saw him one time in middle school, in my class, but he wasn't in my class. Everyone's speaking to other criminally here. We have the family of a Mr. Potter, also recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved with all kinds of predicate acts roles with a Pandolf family and with people associated with junkyards with them. Also predicate acts with overt criminal enterprises and with the body dumping spot of Billy Grasso and of a serial killer. With those killers recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved with predicate acts with the people on my street and tied to them. Now there's a Robert. They also recorded, confessed, and demonstrated a Mike Roberts is involved with them with falsified police reports, human, identity theft, frauds, and racketeering, and that tied to roles where they use inter-brnach, even with the kids before they are real police. They use people walking up and making statements to people in front of strangers. So those strangers use that as evidence to pretend we know them or know them other than we do. A Ray Colo has a Phil Colo and has other cousins that they used to hang around with that are my age, their age, and with their friends from my grade that pretend to meet at fake locations with them, fake knowledge of them at all, and their roles with the Wethersfield police chief's daughter and her husband and her extended family members, and the ones further with the English department, and with the educational department leaderships of the campuses departments involved with predicate acts through time, so they have to hide the same lie progressions. Since before the World Trade Center attack, there's a pattern of racketeering against anyone who tries to follow mandated law in relationship to all these confessions and requests for help from strangers they affected to me, asked of me, and people standing tied to me since I was a kid that are connected. Now those people are going to know that. That's why we need to have a response for the courts and for the police firms recorded, confessed, involved with predicate acts with them since before the World Trade Center attack. Since I was a little kid, Central Connecticut State University Intercities was involved with families, also involved with forensics locations through time. Further, like with the Joshua Julian. Further predicate acts with Wethersfield Police on off the Facebook pages, inter-brnach, also with child sex offenders. I caught them with. First, they hit it with predicate acts, fake falsified police reports. You respond for them. You respond for Congress now. You get them down. I'll gather them! Buck sings. No, seriously. I ask you nice. I ask you all kinds of ways. You give me a goddamn response right now, motherfuckers.